Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue watching 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch the show.
Maybe I forget about this wedding too.
Sweetheart, what's going on?
Why we marry?
Because I love you?
When I stay Russia, I feel you won't marry me, you feel like you're happy. Now I not feel this. I stop feeling you care.
Okay, this is interesting. We haven't seen this sort of dynamic between these two yet. At least I don't remember. She's saying, I'm getting the feeling like you don't love me, and then you don't care about me, and you don't even really care about getting married. So let's see what Brandon can say here. Now, if he can be differentiated, I'm guessing he's feeling attacked and accused, and I'm guessing he has a lot of defensive things ready to go. Like, hey, honey, I just don't care about the wedding. Hey, I'm sorry, I forget about that one thing. I forget some things sometimes. You're pretty good with that. I'm not so good with it. I'm guessing he has a lot of defenses that will interfere with him in this moment. It'd be more differentiated to be like, no, I want to defend myself, but what's the bigger picture here? The bigger picture here is she feels unloved and uncared about. And I want her to feel loved and cared about. So what do I need to say? Well, I got to really pour it on and really go to my heart and really express what is in my heart, which is, I'm guessing, love and affection for her. So let's see what he does. Now, if he does have dependent issues, and again, that vast sea of anger and resentment underneath there, then to the dependent person, when there is an escalation of conflict and the person gets cornered in this way and there's no way out, they will either slip into dependency because they understand that's what they need to do, meaning being very other focused. Of just, honey, what do you need me to do? I'll do whatever you tell me to do, that kind of vibe. Or the hostile, hidden anger underneath it all that will sneak out and try to get her with that. Let's watch what he does and answer some of those questions.
And your mother worry about wedding more you. It's like I feel like I marry your mother, not you.
Yeah.
She know who go wedding day. I don't know.
So we've seen this dynamic before, perhaps during less critical moments, or I guess it was during a pretty critical moment when she was like, I'm done. Either I go back home or we move out. And there's a similar vibe that he has towards her, which is, I'm reading into it, and you let me know in the comments if this makes sense to you, that Brandon seems to come across like, oh, you're kind of hysterical, or, well, you're having a lot of weird emotions right now. Remember earlier in the season when she'd be saying, I can't stand it, and he'd be like, oh, Julia, oh, and you can almost hear Betty in there, right? You know, apples don't fall that far from the tree. We hope we fall far from the tree sometimes, but sometimes we don't. And he might be doing what his parents do, which is to discount your feelings as a way of trying to gain power and a pseudo-closeness. You're trying to shut someone else's emotions down. And the other aspect of this is he seems pretty blank, as if he doesn't care. I imagine he does care, but what's going on there with him? Let's watch this conversation.
The ceremony's not my thing. This
What does
is your thing.
Okay, don't go to church.
I didn't design this ceremony. I didn't say, you know what? Instead of people just signing documents, we should have a church. We should have music and a party. I never said that.
What? What is happening? So he's saying, I didn't design the culture of Christian marriages? Okay, what's your point? You don't want to get married in a church? This is interesting. I think, what's happening with him right now? I'm really curious.
This is just something people do. I'm sorry if it's not my favorite thing, but it's just...
Okay, don't go to church, don't
No,
go, just sign.
Because you want this.
I don't want now.
Why?
I don't care.
No, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So he does that too. It's a pretty typical dynamic for him as well, of just like, yeah, you do, instead of listening. And so what's happening right here? One possibility is, I guess on the surface level, and this could be what's happening, is that he really loves Julia. He really wants to be married to her. He really wants to spend the rest of his life with her. But he is one of those people who just, cannot care less about weddings, might even have a disdain for it. Maybe that's what's happening. There's a lot of people who actually, not only do they not care about weddings and ceremonies and churches, but they actually hate it. They actively hate it. I wonder if he's one of those people. They will say that, that sort of, some people even think the institution of marriage is a hateful thing. There are people will stay together their entire lives and they will never even be married according to the law because they don't like that, all the associations with it. They believe in their relationship, they believe in love, they believe in attachment. They just don't want to involve the government or religion or ceremonies or being in public about certain things. And maybe he's one of those people. But he has a hard time reconciling that with the reality or communicating that or something like that. I guess, it's a possibility. But you probably should have mentioned that earlier. And particularly in this moment, as I've been saying, even if you're not into the ceremony, even if you're not into the dresses, the love of your life, your companion, your soulmate is into something. So at the very least, you could go along with it. It doesn't take much to have enthusiasm, at least 10% to enthusiasm that your partner has. He almost seems actively resisting that, I guess, which lends itself to the possibility that he's not just neutral about this, he actually hates it, but he has a hard time asserting that because he's used to being bulldozed and ignored. And so he shuts himself down, and then he resents that, and then he holds that against Julia instead of being more open about it. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a long shot right there. The other possibility is, which I think is more likely, is that due to his dependent personality, and it's totally speculative that he even has it, I'd have to ask him. But people with dependent personality, they believe they're incompetent, they believe they don't matter, they're very much outwardly focused, they don't really even know what they want. They're terrified of conflict, and all they want to do is please. And so he's just really focused outside, and he's not focused inside. And so he doesn't have any enthusiasm because he's not looking inward. He typically doesn't have any enthusiasm for anything because to have enthusiasm, you have to look inward and you have to connect with your needs. You have to know that. And if he has never been given the opportunity, so he's always focused on the outside. And he's just like, I'm just trying to make you happy. And then suddenly now Julia is saying, hey, what do you want? I need an indication that you want this too. And he's just like, what do you mean? And he might be very confused by that question. He doesn't know how to answer it. And I've seen that before, and it can be very frustrating to the Julias of the world, where you're asking someone. So another aspect to people who have dependency is that people who are either healthy or a little controlling, overpowering, they will tend to project whatever they want to on top of the dependent person in the world. They will tend to see what they want to see, is a way of putting it. And so sometimes you'll get involved with people with this, and because they don't present themselves in a way that has power and agency, and because you have hopes and dreams, and because they don't really oppose that, then you just assume that they're on board with it, and there's this illusion that you're so together on everything. But in reality, you are asserting your wants and needs normally, and the other person is just going along with it, but they're not really going along with it. They just want to please you so much. So it's tempting, that situation, to say, like, we're on the same page, when in reality, there's only you. You're the only one writing on that page. The other person isn't. They're just going along with it because they believe that they need to do that in order to retain a relationship. And so there will be these moments where you'll get to this critical juncture in the relationship like this, and the Julias of the world will say, like, no, we're not going to do what we normally do, where you just go along with things. I need you to step up into the world and actually tell me that you want this, because if you don't, then that completely negates what I want. A lot of the times I want something and I'm really happy that you go along with it. And you go along happily. You don't get upset at me, and I make the choice, I lead the way, and you follow, and we have a great time together. But this is a moment where I can't have that. I can't have me make a decision and you follow. I need this to be a mutual thing where we both want to marry. I need to know what you want. And since the pattern of the relationship might not have that routine very often, it can feel very strange, particularly to the dependent person, because they're like, wait, you don't normally ask me what I want. I usually just go along with what you want and everything works out fine. Now suddenly you want to know what I want. I don't know. And what happens for the person is there's two terrors that they're experiencing. One is, oh my God, I'm being disappointing to this person. They're going to leave me. And my entire life is oriented towards pleasing this person and making that happy so I can retain a relationship and I can feel like I'm wanted. The other terror that they're faced with is this person is asking me what I want. I don't know what I want. And if you're one of these people, you'll understand. And there's other personality disorders where this can happen for people, where when due to mistreatment and abandonment and relational traumas, for some of us, when we look inside of ourselves, we see emptiness, even though it's not empty. The analogy that I always give is you're staring into your bedroom and the lights are off and you just see an abyss, just a black hole. And you assume there's nothing in there because you can't see anything. But through therapy, through secure attachment, through people asking you what you want, through you exploring what you want, getting to know yourself, you slowly turn up the dimmer switch on the lights. And a little bit of light. Now you can say, oh, I think I see an outline of a bed and a dresser and a poster on the wall. And so there's something in there, but people will think that they're empty. People will think that there's nothing there, that they're nothing, that they don't have any wants, they don't have any needs. There's nothing to them. They don't have a personality. There's nothing down there. And when you see that, it is terrifying. And I've been with clients as they look into that. I've been with people in my personal life when they've looked into that. It is not pleasant. It is one of the most terrifying experiences people can have. And so when you are not allowed to connect with your needs as a child, and when you occasionally are forced to look inward and you see what looks to be emptiness, but it's not emptiness, it's just the light switch isn't on. There's things down there, you just don't have a connection with it. And long-term therapy can get you in connection with it. I know a lot of you have gone to long-term therapy or are starting long-term therapy to do this, and I congratulate you and I wish you well in your journey. It usually works out fine with the right therapist. But anyway, so when people do that, it's extremely scary, and they don't know what to do, and they will push back, or their anxiety will go through the roof, and they won't know what to do. And the Julias of the world will be watching this, and they'll just be like, I don't understand what's happening. The only way I can interpret this is you don't love me. But that isn't necessarily what's happening. What could be happening, again, is the person is so terrified of looking in, like, this person is forcing me to ask myself, do I want to get married? Do I want this? What sort of wedding do I want? And there's literally nothing down there. And so I'm going to say anything I need to say to get out of this conversation. I don't know if that's what's happening. It's completely speculative, but let's keep that in mind and watch the rest of this.
Don't even lie. Yes, you do. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be crying about it right now, would you? Right now, you're crying because I don't.
Because you don't care.
Because that's not my dreams to walk down the aisle. You're upset because I don't share the female fantasy of a wedding day, right?
Yikes. 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 I mean, what's happening? The other confusing thing about that, and he seems to be mocking her, which is bizarre. There's nothing wrong with him saying, I don't want to get, and what is he saying? Is he saying he doesn't want to get married in a church? It's fine. Just say, you know what? I don't want to get, this is not my thing. I don't want to get married in a church. I'd rather just us sign the document. But that contradicts everything that's been said prior to this in this season, where he was like, don't you want a big wedding? We need to have a big wedding. That was why they needed to stay home, right? That he had enough money to move out, but they were going to forego that because they needed a big wedding. So he never wanted a wedding. He never wanted a big wedding. He didn't want a wedding in a church. I mean, because it wasn't just the church aspect that he's mocking. It's also the party aspect. So from the way he's talking right now, it seems like he just wants to go to the courthouse, sign some documents, and walk away, which again is fine. It's certainly not what he's been communicating. You don't need to mock someone like just before the wedding about this. So it's really interesting. The only explanation I can come to is that he is so desperate to please that he just wants her to do what, I bet you anything if she said, okay, so here's an hypothesis just clicked in my head. He is not used to someone asking him what he wants. Okay, we understand that, or at least that's the hypothesis. He knows how to relate to someone if they bulldoze him. So what he is hoping for, the way he can relate to someone is just do whatever you want to do and I'll be along. But I'm not going to be fully on board because I don't even know what I want in life. So let's go back in time with him and his mom, him and his parents. I don't think it's hard to imagine that his parents would dictate what he did in life and he would go along with it, but he wouldn't really like it. And that's how he knows how to relate to someone is no one ever asks me what I want. They dictate what my life is. I go along with it, but I subtly resent the whole thing. But no one ever seems to care that I resent it and everything's fine. And I have remember how I was talking about how dependent people have a lot of anger. They have a lot of resentment. And so let's just imagine that to be true again is total speculation. That the parents bulldoze, they dictate what he's going to do, and he goes along with it because he gets closeness, because that's the requirement is he must go along with it, but he resents it. So that's very comfortable to him. That to him feels like love. That to him is what attachment is to allow someone else to dictate your life, but to resent it. That's what love is. That's what relationships are. So he goes into this situation, and she has all these wants and needs, and he is going along with it, but he is, following along and resenting it the entire time. But for Julia, she is not like the parents, presumably, and is not just going to forge ahead in that dynamic. She will stop and say, wait, do you want this? Because I don't want to do this if you don't want it. And he's not used to that, and he's trying to push her back into what he knows how to do, which is to follow and resent. And you even see it in his language. He's like, no, I know you want this. You want to get married in this church. And so just go ahead and do it, and I'll go along with it. But I'm going to have a bad attitude because that's how I relate to people. That's the way relationships work, right? Is I follow and hate you the whole time. But that's the only way to get closeness. So why are you interfering with that dynamic? That to me makes some sense. Again, I'd have to ask him and Julia if this makes any sense to them. Let's keep that in mind as we watch some more.
Because you want this.
I don't want now.
Why?
I don't
No,
care.
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
don't
Don't even lie. Yes, you do. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be crying about it right now, would you? Right now, you're crying because I don't.
Because you don't care.
Because that's not my dreams to walk down the aisle. You're upset because I don't share the female fantasy of a wedding day, right?
Okay, so this brings up something that I talk about sometimes. I don't know, I brought this up when he was reacting to the wedding dress. There's a possibility that he's been socialized to believe that in order to be a proper man, he has to not care about this sort of thing. It's sort of a stereotype or a trope that men don't care. It's, weddings aren't for the man. It's 100% for the woman, and the man is just there. And if the man actually likes the dress, if he gets involved in that, if he gets involved in the wedding, then that makes him feminine, which is one of the worst things you can be as a man. And so I wonder if he has internalized a lot of those messages and is trying to uphold the shred of self-esteem that he has in his manhood, differentiating himself as like, look, weddings are a women thing and men don't care. That's how I can uphold my manliness and my self-esteem. I don't know. But I will tell you that it's not a female thing to get interested in ceremonies and love and attachment and expressing one's love. It certainly is told to men that they're not supposed to be vulnerable, that they're not supposed to cry, but we all understand that that doesn't make any sense. Humans want love, humans want ceremony, and the fact that we socialize men to believe otherwise is inhumane.
Feel something you don't feel. That is what you're asking.
If you not feel this, Brandon, why you marry me?
Because I want to make you happy. I want to do this for you. But
So there you go. I don't know what he means by that precisely, but that certainly fits neatly into the hypothesis that I've been putting forth. She is saying, I need you to want this. And what she, I think, is saying is, look, I don't care necessarily about the ceremony. Do you want to marry me? Do you love me? I don't understand what's happening right now. But so she asked that question, and then he says, I want to make you happy. It's a very telling way to phrase it. Instead of, I want you to be happy, and yes, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. All he is focused on is, I want to make you happy. And then that sea of anger and resentment is coming up, where I'm guessing anything, if we talked to him, he'd be like, she's crazy. She's not letting me make her, she's making stuff up in her head. And that's the distortion that anger will give. But let's rewind that, because I think that a lot of personality is being revealed right here.
Feel something you don't feel. That is what you're asking.
If you not feel this, Brandon, why you marry me?
Because I want to make you happy. I want to do this for you. But you're also
marry
asking...
me because you want to make me happy?
No.
Right. Julia always has a good head on her shoulders, and she's like, wait, you want to marry me because you want to make me happy? Like, that does... let's call it, if that's the only reason why you're marrying me, then let's call the whole thing off, because that's ridiculous. She didn't go that far with the sarcasm, but she says, wait, you want to marry me just because you want to make me happy? So that's it. And he is stopped in his tracks. He doesn't know what to say to that. Because now, some people are going to hate him for this, and some people in the comments below do hate him. They'll say, like, he needs to grow up, he needs to man up. I hope it's clear that personality is something that develops over time, and we can't choose our defenses and our distortions and our neurology. When people are raised in a particular way, I don't know if Brandon is one of these people, but when people are raised in a way that produces dependency, where they feel incompetent, where they don't know who they are, they literally do not know who they are and what they want, then they resort to, well, I kind of feel like I need closeness in my life. And I do find that when I just focus on the other person and just do whatever they want to do, things usually work out. But that also means that the person never asks themselves, is this what I want? And they've had a lifetime of being denied what they want, and they're angry about it. And even though as they're handing over, as they are following the other person, they secretly hate the other person for not asking them what they want. But because of the condition, when the other person does ask them what they want, they don't know what they want, and they deflect back. And so they're in this constant loop of saying, the only way I can attach is to follow, and I hope that one day they ask me what I want. But if they ask me what I want, I don't know what I want, and I'm going to follow them. And so it just goes round and round and round. And there's a lot of suffering in that. No one chooses that life. You can't just yell at someone like that and say, man up, and cure 27 years of mistreatment.
I also can't fake who I am as a person. Even though I try, I can't make Julia happy, and we have 60 days to get married. Now, with coronavirus shutting everything down, there's not enough time to decide if it's worth dealing with that the rest of my life.
So I'm going to take his word for it, but it is a little, I don't know, strange that that's the way he's framing this, is she wants to change who I am as a person. Really? I mean, one, you've never brought up what you wanted, at least what we've seen on the show. Who knows what they've done behind the scenes. But the other thing is that's not what she's asking. She's not asking you to love churches and weddings and ceremonies and parties. In this moment, she's saying, do you want to marry me? Do you care at all? There's plenty of people who are just like let's just take a real common example where you have an atheist who is marrying a Christian, okay? And the atheist is like, nope, don't believe in God, don't believe in heaven, don't believe in any of that stuff. And you have the Christian who says, do believe in God, do believe in Jesus, do believe in the afterlife. And the two people, they meet and they say, you know what, even though we don't agree on that, we're going to get married. Well, plenty of people will work this out where, one scenario is the atheist says, you know what, I don't believe in church and everything, but, my spouse does, and it's fine, I'll go along with it. And when everyone is praying, I guess I'll be praying to my higher self or something like that. And I can enjoy it, and I can enjoy the family and the ceremonial parts, when we light the candle. I kind of like that symbolism there. I love my spouse, and I'm kind of into it. I'm just not as into the dogma of the religion as my spouse is. A lot of people will make that compromise. So it's not like she's asking him to fundamentally change who he is, at least from the way it looks to us. So it is kind of interesting that he has that narrative. I hope that we get more detail from him around this because I'm really curious. If you want to see pictures of my cats and dogs and me and my wife doing other mundane things around our house, you can go to Instagram and join us there. There should be a link below. There's also Discord. You can join the conversation there. There's also a Facebook fan page. There's also a Facebook official page where I will post things. And there is also Reddit. You can join that too. There's a link below for that. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.